Hey guys, so for this video, I'm going to be ranking the best Fortnite player from every category in the game. Now, what I mean when I say category is basically anything that makes a player unique. Some examples are the best mechanics, the best aim, the best IGL, as well as of course the more broad classifications such as the best female player, the best overall pro, and the best creative player. You guys actually might remember that I did a category video like this, I think around 3 years ago. From what I remember, it was at the end of Chapter 2 Season 1, so because we're now at the end of Chapter 4 Season 1, yes, it's been that long, I thought I might as well go ahead and update it since a lot has changed. A lot. Therefore, guys, make sure to drop a like down below if you enjoy. Also, try to remember that this is my own opinion. It is more than okay to disagree with me on one of my rankings. I'm not always gonna be right. Just please hear out my whole reasoning and then let me know what you think down in the comments, but only after you watch the whole video. Promise me that. So again, subscribe, like, use code JERIAN to support me, and without further ado, let's get running into it. The first category we're going to look at, boys and girls, is one of my favorites. It is the best Wkeyer. I guess technically you can call this like the best fighter or best fragger. Wkeying and those things do go hand in hand. However, what I'm essentially referring to is the player with the best in-game ability to rack up kills, to push other players, and to obviously end fights fast. My initial thought with this category was that it would have to be someone from EU, right? EU has always been known for its insane fighters like Noah Riley, Vidal, Vino. Those guys WK in grands for God's sakes. But something I've actually noticed is that recently, ever since NA scrims died out and EU scrims ramped up, NA and EU have basically swapped playstyles. EU is actually more patient now. Because of this and because of the fact that these rankings are based on right now, not the past, right at the current moment, the best Wkeyer in the world has to be Peterbot. Peterbot, for the lack of a better word, is a fucking psychopath. Like, not only are his placements insane, I'll list them all in a second, but he manages to have all these insane placements while Wkeying and fighting everyone. For example, Peter qualified for the last solo cash cup and made money in it. Pretty decent, okay. Well, what if I told you that he did it in 2 games? One was a 32 kill win, and the other was a 25 kill second in high elo. That's against all pros. Alright, Jerian, but that's just a solo cash cup. Well, to counter that, in FNCS week 1 and 2, Peter and Booga dropped 420 bombs in each week. That's against elite players, and then in finals, they finished second and first respectively, all while fragging out and having the most elims on average. Again, against all pros. So yeah, guys, while you may not agree and you may think it should go to someone on EU like Vino, just let me remind you that there's only one pro that still gets cheating accusations, and it is Peterbot. Moving on though, since we just did the best Wkeyer, or as I said, the best fragger, I thought we might as well do the opposite of that for the second category, aka the best IGL. IGL, for those of you that do not know, stands for in-game leader. This is the person that will usually, but not always, tarp for the team. They are responsible for a team's positioning, their rotates, macro and micro decisions. They have the final say on what the team will do, and they call the shots. Booga is Peterbot's IGL. And now, while you guys might think I'm gonna say Booga for this because I love Booga, and Booga is probably the best IGL from NA, I do think a specific EU IGL beats him out, and his name is Queasy. If you guys are going to watch FNCS Grands this weekend, I'm recording this 1 or 2 days before it. There's a good chance that if you look on high ground, you will find Queasy. I'm not even joking. Queasy came up as a high ground IGL back in Chapter 2. He won Primal Season, if you guys remember that. And ever since then, he has not played anything else but height. Since that time, he finished 3rd in Grand Royale Finals, 3rd in Chapter 3 Season 3 Grands, 1st in Chapter 3 Season 1 Grands, and then 2nd at FNCS Invitational. He was the one who made the call to land on SETI. And actually, wait a second, because I know a lot of you will ask why I'm putting Queasy over SETI. SETI could easily be number 1, but I do think that Queasy edges him out. This season, Queasy has absolutely dominated. His IGLing won him 4 out of 6 Elite Cups, top 3 in every single FNCS week, as well as what will most likely be a top 2 this weekend. Come back to this video when it happens. So obviously, SETI is still a top tier IGL. You could easily make an argument that he's number 1, but just because of how dominant Queasy has been this season, I believe he deserves this spot over everyone else. Okay, let's switch it up a bit. Let's move away from the in-game categories and go over to the more IRL ones with the best female player. That was a really corny joke. No, but for real, there actually are a ton of really good female players. You have Caroline on NA East who competed in Elite Division. You have Dias from my female-only tournament who is an absolute monster. There's even a bunch of no-build female players that have way more earnings than I do. Like a lot more. With all of that being said though, I really do think that there's only one choice for the best female player. You guys know who it is. It's gotta be Somerset. Somerset, even before this season, had far and away the best placements for a female Fortnite player. She qualified for a ton of FNCS semifinals. She qualified for a solo Cash Cup finals as well. Her placements are really, really good. And before you guys say anything stupid like she gets carried or that she only plays with big pros, that just does not apply to Somerset. She, as I just said, qualified for a solo Cash Cup final last season, keyword there being solos, and then this season not only qualified for multiple solo Cash Cup finals, but also became the first ever female to qualify for an Elite Cup duo finals. Even pros don't always qualify for those. Therefore, considering the added pressure she has of streaming all events, of having a crazy amount of stream snipers, as well as being a female filled in a space with a lot of dudes, some really weird ones, Somerset deserves a lot more credit and to me is the best female Fortnite player. If you call me a simp, I'll ban you. Continuing on in the more broad category, how about the best creative player in Fortnite? Creative, I can't lie guys, is extremely hard to rank. Like just think about it for a second. In competitive, you have tournament placements, you have earnings, you have PR, you have a bunch of sort of these unbiased ways to rank people where even if I am completely biased towards someone, I have to back it up using those impartial rankings. Creative doesn't have that though. And actually now that I think about it, creative is almost impossible to accurately rank people in. Like, the only fair way to do it is to rank people based on how they do versus others, creative 1v1s, but what happens if one person beats the other? Are they automatically better just because they beat them once? I don't know! Or well, I actually do know since I wouldn't be putting this in the video if I wasn't gonna rank anyone. My choice for the best creative player is Andy. Hopefully you guys know Andy by now since he is pretty big in the creative comm, but in case you do not, here is a little synopsis. Andy, or Relaxed Andy, is a controller player that is widely known as the best Zone Wars player in the world. I actually made a video with him last season where I put him up against Peterbot. That's the same Peter I said before who's the best Wkeyer or in-game fighter, and no joke, Andy whooped his ass. He 5-1'd him in box fights, which Peter should technically be better at since box fights favors the keyboard player, and Andy also 5-1'd him in realistics. I think Zone Wars would have been 5-0. For those reasons, as well as some opinions I got from the creative comm, I believe Andy is the best creative player, bar none, but I'm kind of curious to hear what you guys think. Let me know down below. Ooh, I have an interesting category up next. This one could be the most contentious. It is the best no builder. No builds, even though to me is very boring to watch when compared to builds, no builds has a huge fan base. Because of this, and because no builds is technically easier than traditional build modes, no builds also has a ginormous amount of standout players. There's the traditional no build demons such as Pilkey, Easiness, Tfue, Zemi, Ranger, and then there's the build pros that dominate no builds, guys like Anas, Queasy, Thomas HD. They are actually the people who win the majority of no build tournaments for money. That's not too surprising, is it? Regardless, when it comes to no builds, one player sticks out in my mind. You guys also know him. It is my former duo, Jayth. I could easily sit here and list all of Jayth's insane achievements and accomplishments in no builds, but I think it's a lot easier to just put them on the screen and have you guys look at them yourself. There are that many of them. Like, in total, Jayth has over $120,000 in no build earnings, 6 figures in a game mode that only came out last year, and then he also has double-digit wins in no build tournaments that aren't for money, stuff like duo quick cups and solo skin tournaments. Hence, while I am being slightly biased since I love Jayth and I did meet him IRL, he was in my vlog, I truly challenge you all to find one better person in no builds than Jayth. I'll wait. Alright, just about halfway through, no builds is one thing. How about we go back to builds and actually hone in on them, with the next category being the best mechanics. Now again guys, this category, just like creative, is extremely hard to rank. In fact, it actually might be harder than creative. There's no 1v1s when it comes to mechanics, there's no sort of leaderboard. It is all your opinion on who you deem to have the fastest and cleanest builds and edits, or well, I guess in this case, it's mine. And it's just purely that. So who is my choice for the best mechanics? mechanics? It could be Diego Plays, the NA mechanical warlord. It could be Noah Riley, who is kind of the OG mechanical demon. It could even be iDrop, who most pros said is the most mechanical. But to me, when it comes to mechanics, only one name comes to mind, and it is Ken Beans. I'm just fucking with ya. No, the real person with the best mechanics is Raider464. Do I even need to explain why? Raider, no joke, has been the fastest editor in the entire world since Chapter 1. He was one of the first people to master double edit binds. He was also a very early adopter of piece control and has some crazy free builds. Raider has literally been at the forefront of Fortnite mechanics for years, and he's somehow only getting faster. Therefore, guys, while Raider may not play competitive, and I guess that kind of makes sense, he's literally in creative all day long. Raider's mechanics blow everyone else's out of the water, and hopefully one day we will see them used in competitive. Please let me coach you for a video, Raider. On the topic of putting mechanics to use, let's talk about the other big Fortnite mechanic, the one that's not building or editing. Let's rank the best aimer. Last time I made this video, I'm pretty sure for the best aimer, I had to choose between Mongrel and Tfue. Fast forward to today, and neither of them even play competitive anymore. Really, man? Still, after asking around the no-build community as well as the build com, I found a player whose overall aim might be the most disgusting in the entire world, like not just in one game mode with one weapon. And even more surprising is that I did not pick a controller player. I guess I can't complain about aim assist anymore, huh? Who I went with for the best aimer is none other than the snipe god, Thomas HD. If you've never seen Thomas HD play, then just watch this montage of him and how good his aim is with every single weapon. This man is literally the best sniper in the world, has insane AR and shotgun aim, and unlike some of the other aimers you might be thinking of, he actually has the placements to back it up. In total, Thomas has over $750,000 in earnings just online, and to kind of prove the aim part, he has over $20,000 in earnings from no-build tournaments. No builds! So as I've been saying throughout the video, guys, let me know who you think is the best for this. Do you agree or disagree with my pick? But either way, to me, it's gotta be Thomas HD. End of story. Getting to the end of the categories, we cannot skip over the basic one, and by that I mean the best controller player. Now, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I am kind of stuck on this one. On one hand, you have the clear choice, Miro. He is a 4x NA East FNCS winner, probably the most dominant fragger during Chapter 3 with Booga. Miro is actually insane. But then, on the other hand, there is Reet. Reet, just like Miro, has great FNCS placements, albeit his were on NA West. Reet still dominates with Epic Whale after Miro kind of took his foot off the gas following Invitational. And Reet, at least in my opinion, has gotta be the most dominant solo cash cup player of all time. OG Reet was nuts. So yeah, I'm struggling with this. I guess we really won't know who is better until after this weekend. That is when Grants happens. Or you know what? Actually, we probably won't have a concrete answer until NA gets combined next season. But for the sake of the video and for the sake of me not being a little bitch, I'm going to have to give this to Miro because Miro is just him. Sorry, Reet. Not at the final category just yet. I actually have a cheeky one before the big finale. I think it's just about time we crowned the best boomer. Boomer, in terms of Fortnite, is basically anyone over the age of like 22. I know in real life boomers are way older than that. I think the only actual boomer who competed in Fortnite was Acting Like Tommy, and he doesn't play anymore. So when I refer to a Fortnite boomer, I'm basically talking about anyone who's my age and still competes. There's really not many of us left. Because of this, and because most boomers who still grind are content creators, boomers like Ken Beans, Jivin, and Kiwis can grind because it's their job. There's really only one single boomer left who still places, a man who, yes, is over the age of 22, and it is the OG GOAT FaZe Bizzle. Bizzle is, I think, only 24 years old, which is not that old for Fortnite. I guess it kind of is, but considering how long he has been in the scene, he is ancient. I actually remember when I first started watching competitive Fortnite, I'm talking the Chapter 1 Season 4 days of the original pro scrims, back when Myth was competing. I used to watch a ton of Bizzle. I followed him through the summer and fall skirmishes. I followed him when he got picked up by Ghosts. I even randomly sat behind his family at the World Cup. I've literally watched this man, who is a year younger than me, continue to place for years in person and on LAN, and as I've been saying, he still continues to place to this day. Like, he literally just qualified for Chapter 4 Season 1 Grands after finishing first in the Surge Week. He did that while being 24. So Bizzle, shout out to you. I respect you a lot more because you're a fellow boomer like me. And kind of a weird fact that I do want to throw in, I live less than 10 minutes away from you. Hopefully that's not too weird. Now for the moment you have all been waiting for, the best Fortnite player overall in the entire world. This again, guys, is a tough one for me. And I know a lot of you are going to be very passionate about this. Just hear me out and let me explain. I really don't think there is one right answer. For example, you could be correct if you say Vino is the best player in the world. Vino is Queasy's duo. Remember, he won 4 out of 6 Elite Cups this season. He finished top 3 in like every single FNCS week. He also came second at the Invitational LAN. He's an elite solo player with crazy aim. Vino honestly could have been the best player in like 4 different categories. Aim, fragging, overall, maybe even no builds, I don't know. He's literally that good. But you know who else has it all as well? A certain player by the name of Malabuka. Malabuka, guys, he might just be the most unstoppable player at his peak. Like, just listen to this. In the most recent Solo Cash Cup finals, Malabuka won 5 out of 6 games. 5 out of 6. That's $500 and a world record. Like, what? Not to mention, Malabuka is Thomas HD's duo, one of the other best players in the world. He also won 3 different Elite Cups, even though I do think 1 or 2 of them was voided. Rest in peace, $10,000. Regardless, guys, you know me. I'm going to have to pick someone because if I didn't, that would be really mean and I would leave you on a major cliffhanger. You guys wouldn't like that, right? Well, guess what? I don't care. The video's over. No, obviously, I'm gonna pick one of the two for the best player in the world. Is it Vino the Fragger? Is it Malabuka the IGL? Is it maybe even Booga because I love him? Or is it one of their duos, Queasy or Thomas HD? I really don't want to answer. But to finish off the video, boys and girls, the best player in the world, I gotta give it to Malabuka. Comment down below if you agree.